no one would say that an alcoholic who drank liquor for 20 years got clean in 2003 and been clean for 20 years, but still can recall how alcohol tastes, still can recall the last time they threw up, still can recall all of the hardships and all of the things, the pain that came with it, and still can recall how they overcame that and made sacrifices to live a better life today.
Right.
That's their testimony. No one could take that away from them.
As
and
an
they
alcohol user.
but they use that testimony to share with other alcoholics to let them know that they too can one day get clean.
Absolute lie. Ridiculous.
Hey, welcome back to Black Press. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Now let's get to it.
Hey, welcome back. I'm your girl Trish,
And I'm your boy, Mr. Define.
and we are
Black Press. So, you know I'm from Atlanta, right? Actually, I'm not from Atlanta. People be lying. I'm from the outskirts of Atlanta. So, you know, people that live in Atlanta be like, they get offended. They get offended. I started, Decatur, then Lithonia. It don't matter because only people that really think that matters are the ones that are into that. But it don't really matter because you're really just trying to claim an area that. Anyway, whatever, blah blah. But so I did love T.I. And I still do. Like I still connect with his music. But as I grew older, I kind of realized that the way the music industry is and the things that are rapped about are not really helping our community. So if it's not helping, then it can only be hurting. So the ideology of what's going on is really it's offensive to me because we're completely and intentionally going in the opposite direction of what we know what actually is true to be. And but all that to say, I still love Chia. I still love the music. I still like, as you know, before we start these videos, I'm always on the doing the sounds like mic check, 1 2 1 2. You want to beef with the king? What is you gonna do when he show up on the scene? What is two gonna do? And you and your friends play a little 2-on-2. If you knew how forward, I mean, you can get the deck. I got a dude in the best. I can get some respect. Make it hard for another circle to respect. So the same squad for the circle of terror. But I do that because it's just like routine for me. It's just is in me. P.I. came out in 03. Right at, my sister, she came through 99. And that was when Lil Jon was coming out. And then 03, when T.I.'s first album came, like, really started popping in the community. And that was the year I graduated. So, like, the year I graduated high school was when it was like, I was finding myself, and everybody in Atlanta was listening to T.I. And, so, it was great for me back then, but then I started to see things as the glorification of what they were doing, and then I was realizing that what they were doing was what was killing our community. And then T.I.'s gone on to do the Trap Museum, and so they have built a monument based on the music that was glorifying the actions, and he don't think of it that way. So this is how he thinks of it.
A lot of people say, trap music, even after 20 years, they like, yo, well, it's
He thinks
just
of it Like,
It's just glorification of felonious activity. It's just people, making light of people selling drugs. Well, I say to that this: if you look at us differently, don't look at us as drug dealers, drug users, or former drug dealers. Look at us as refugees from the war on drugs. A war that was waged against the citizens in this country that looked like us.
Correct.
Crack was dropped off in our communities.
Right.
These sentences were meant to
Take us away.
remove us from being able to be fathers, brothers, mothers, cousins, uncles, aunts, just break down the family dynamic.
Right.
And from that, we found the silver lining. We took what the devil meant for bad, allowed God to use it for good, turned it into philosophical presentation, set the music, called it trap music, and changed the course of living for our families forever. And nothing else has been able to do that for us.
Correct.
Outside of throwing a ball,
Yes, sir.
catching, throwing, shooting some. I mean, ain't nothing else really that has been able to do that as much as this has.
Right.
And no one would say that an alcoholic who drank liquor for 20 years got clean in 2003 and been clean for 20 years, but still can recall how alcohol tastes, still can recall the last time they threw up, still can recall all of the hardships and all of the things, the pain that came with it, and still can recall how they overcame that and made sacrifices to live a better life today.
Right.
That's their testimony. No one could take that away from them.
As
and
an alcohol user.
but they use that testimony to share with other alcoholics to let them know that they too can one day get clean.
Yes, sir.
Nobody should be able to take their ability to share that testimony with the world. And that's how I see trap music.
Absolutely.
absolute lie. Ridiculous. Oh my God. I will pick that thing apart. And I will, because there's an ideology that we have in our community that the music is and it's artistic, right? It's an artistic representation that we use our pain to make something better. And I'm gonna hit just on the points that he was talking about, because first off, the refugee point. Do you believe that the people that were in these communities are refugees?
I don't think so, because if somebody put something down, why do you pick it up? If you know, like, even if there's an idea that it can be bad for you, that's like fentanyl.
Yeah.
Why are you picking it up? Why are you gonna take it? Why do you ingest it?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think that can be some type of medicinal abuse? You didn't get it prescribed by a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't been physically evaluated to take that medication, but you think it's okay to ingest that in your body and blame other people for what you've done. And then there's like crack babies and stuff that's the result of it.
Mm-hmm.
That, of course, that's not their fault, but it's the parents' fault for consuming that stuff while they were pregnant.
Yeah.
And then there's so many other things that can happen from people taking drugs. So, just like you always say, people need to take accountability. People need to take accountability for their actions, because no one forced it on you.
Yeah.
It was dropped off in the neighborhood. Somebody could have been an advocate and say, "We not having that here."
Yeah.
Not take part in it and play a role of damaging the community as well. Because once they dropped it off, there's somebody out there distributing it.
Yeah.
And it's not just the consumers that are.
But they
that
say
are buying it.
because it was
It's people
dropped
that's
off,
giving it out.
the war was started against us, but they were the ones. But the government were the ones that put the drugs into the community in order to tear down our community.
So why not take it and put it back in their community?
Exactly.
Or why not take it and destroy it?
Hmm.
Why do you take it and you can be an enemy to yourself
Yeah.
and an enemy to other people because they found it okay to distribute this drug to everybody in the neighborhood.
Hmm. That's
So
that's the big problem I have. And that also, even with those political commentators that
mhm,
say, oh, the black community has been oppressed for this long, and and I know, what's his name? Oh, that big, the chubby guy.
mhm,
Uh, anyway, I'll think of his name in a minute.
mhm,
But to say that to say that they were, or we're, yes, the black community are, uh, the black community is definitely refugees. Refugees when they went from the south to the north, and then
mhm,
and then they went when we went from the south to the north to escape the Jim Crow. We were refugees. When we went up north, we were still subject to the Jim Crow laws, and also eventually the crack and cocaine that was introduced to our communities. But for
mhm,
T.I. to say that he himself was a refugee is to say it's for a warlord in Africa to say that he's a refugee
mhm,
because of what was established by the British and the European colonies that came down and took all the resources from Africa. Like,
mhm,
dude, so what you're saying is because poverty and drugs was brought into your community, you're a refugee because you sold those drugs into your community. So you were just trying to what? You're a refugee trying to make your way out of the community by poisoning the rest of the community. Like, make that make sense. Like, what is that? How?
mhm.
How does that make sense?
And the whole thing about like trap music, he's calling it a testimony,
Yeah, yeah,
which is like him recalling his experience. It's supposed to help somebody, but if you listen to it, it's still like present day.
yeah.
It's not like, oh, you can do this and get over it. He's giving it to you like the poison, like the drugs
Like
that
it's right
they
now.
yeah. He's giving it to you like it's a drug.
I love how he said it's like an alcoholic overcoming his addiction,
Mhm.
and he ain't harmed. You're saying no one. He said no one could say that alcoholic shouldn't express it. Shouldn't express how they overcame things. Um, what about the daughter of that
Mhm.
alcoholic that terrorized their household? What about the other neighbor that the alcoholic broke into their house?
Mhm.
What about the wife of that alcoholic who was abused?
Mhm. Or the
To
children.
the children.
Mhm.
So you're saying that nobody can tell that alcoholic that they shouldn't tell their testimony? I say maybe the children and the spouse that you abused while you were an alcoholic can definitely say
Mhm.
that you shouldn't be able to tell your story
Yeah.
because guess what? And yeah, you should be able to tell your story, but you also have harmed those people.
Mhm.
And the difference between the alcoholic and a rapper telling their what he calls a testimony is
Mhm.
the alcoholic is not making millions of dollars, hundreds
Mhm.
of dollars, thousands of dollars. No matter how much you're making, you're profiting off of telling the story of how you abuse the people in your house or your community.
And that's basically what he said.
Yeah.
He said that, if I recall correctly, but he said that the trap music is what helped his family.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
exactly. It helped
but
your
it's
family
his
off the
family. It's
backs
not.
of everybody
Yeah,
else.
it's not everybody else. And what else? What else are you doing positive?
Yeah,
A trap museum. What?
yeah. And
What
then he
does
can say,
that?
"Oh, I'm building communities, I'm building all of this," but everything you're doing all of that
It's
is
a
off
profit.
of profit from what you did. That's the say. So what he's arguing is, if I take his argument, then I can say that the slavery, the slave masters that own the land and pass that land off to their generations after them, they were only doing things in that era to survive, and therefore their children that have generations of wealth is justified because they were just doing what they needed to do to survive in America, in a new land that needed income to in order to sell bring that commerce to Great Britain. They just needed to survive for their kids, right? Like, the justification is ridiculous. So I'm gonna hit one more point, and then I'm gonna tell you what it reminds me of. The other part was the fact that he said, never mind. I'm gonna leave it at that. The other part, the issue that, so if you know what's going on, do you know? So are you tracking what's going on with Fox News, and they're being sued by the company that Fox News is being sued by the company that made the voting machines because Fox News was knowingly allowing their reporters to tell false information about the whole election process. Yeah. So guess what happened? The Fox News CEO has said that they knew that what their reporters were saying was wrong. They knew it was a lie, but it was giving them good ratings. That is what T.I. is saying. He knew it was wrong, but it was putting money in his pocket.
Yeah.
So because it's putting money in my pocket, it's right for him. That's what we do. We do that so much, and it pisses me off to no end. Do not justify your wrong actions just because it makes what's right for you.
It benefits.
If it benefits, exactly. But we do that all the time. We justify things. My actions were wrong, but I did it because of this. No. Don't say, but I did it because of this. Just say you were wrong. And then pay penance for that part. But that's not what we want to do. And it's so frustrating. Like, if you're wrong, correct it. Correct it. Don't say I'm wrong. But you know what? It's the same reason why America does not give reparations to Black Americans. Because if I can tell you I'm wrong, but I can't go as far as to give you the reparations of, like, dude, I'm telling you, all of them aggravate the crap out of me. T.I., Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Why Jay-Z? Because Jay-Z just did it on a higher level than T.I. Oh, you see? When it comes about North people, now you shake your head.
No.
See? Yes. We just said T.I. was wrong. T.I.'s from the South.
Ow.
We talk about Jay-Z, and it's different because Jay-Z is from the North. But guess what? Jay-Z made his money rapping about how he was selling dope up north.
Yeah, but Jay-Z has changed his
CEO of the ROC, even back then, you called me the something like that. You know what I'm saying? I used to move to a place by the OC.
But everybody knows. Everybody knows
But
that. That's
guess what?
That's what he used to
But
do.
guess what? Used to do still is what made you your money to do what you're doing now. That's the same thing as a plantation owner. And then you rapped about it. So guess what? You received what was given to you by the government, and then you became. You went from the slave to the slave overseer because you kept the rest of the slaves in line. Listen to this. You kept the rapper, the drug dealer, kept the rest of the black people in line as an overseer by continuously holding them down by providing them drugs. And then you became a rapper because you didn't just want to be the overseer, you wanted to make more money. So you went from the overseer keeping them down to then you went to the slave owner by not owning the bodies of the people, but by owning the minds of the people. And then that wasn't enough. You needed to have a conglomerate of plantations. So that's when you started putting other slaves under contract. You see what I'm saying? You created your own record label to put other overseers under contract so that they could keep the black community down and then continue to enslave the minds of black people. So now you're not just the slave owner, you're not just the plantation owner, you're over the whole conglomerate of cotton is king. But now rap is king. So you're making all this money and you're trying to say that you've changed, but you still own everything up under that's still keeping the minds of black people enslaved.
The black people you have to want it enough in order to get out of it.
See, that's the same thing as saying
really
black people chose to be enslaved.
Yeah.
And part of that I agree with you. Cause you said to say you have to want it enough to get out. When I say is to say black people chose to be in slavery, that's what Kanye said. Kanye said black people chose to be in slavery. So that's the same thing to say you have to want to get out. That means you have to. That everybody that didn't run away from slavery wanted to be enslaved,
or just didn't have a strong enough mindset to get out of the slavery. Because there was people freeing slaves. It's a lot of people that's scared to come out their comfort zone, so they stay in what keeps them comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know what's out there. You don't know if you're gonna get killed. But a lot of the people that did escape and run,
mm-hmm.
Well, you have nothing else to lose. What else do you have to give? So you just go until you can't go nowhere.
Yeah, and those are the people that create businesses.
Yeah.
Those are the people that do things outside of just what the community is doing, because it's like I realize that I am in slavery.
Yeah.
I need more. I have to have more, and I'm willing to risk it all to get out there and do more.
Yeah, but sometimes they have to hit rock bottom in order to find that rising top.
Yeah, or sometimes people hit rock bottom and never come back up. But my point is to say that what you did is justified because of what the government did to you is to say that it's justified to be a black slave overseer, because it's better to be the overseer than to be the one picking cotton. It don't matter. If you don't share this, T.I. will never hear it. Just saying. I'm just saying. But I'm your boy, Mr. Define.
And I'm your girl,
and we are Black Press.